And good evening, good morning, good afternoon to wherever you're watching from here in the Philippines or from all over the world. Again, my name is RJ Ledesma. Thank you so much for joining me in my podcast, the RJ Ledesma Podcast. In my podcast, I interview the country's pioneering business personalities and entrepreneurs to learn more about how they think about doing business, what are their success secrets, and can we replicate those success secrets in our own businesses? How have they innovated? How have they pivoted their businesses during this pandemic? But more importantly, what opportunities do they see emerging in the new normal, or what I'm now calling the new normal? Now, is there a business personality or entrepreneur that you would like me to interview here on the podcast? Please do let me know and drop me a message. I would love to pick their brains here on the podcast. We are also live right now on Kumu, CBRC TV, Global Pinas TV, and the Bounce Back PH official network. And you can also find us on YouTube at the same time. If you're enjoying this podcast and you're learning a lot from it, please subscribe and invite more friends to listen to the RJ Ledesma Podcast. You can also, again, like I said, catch us on YouTube. Now, tonight's guest, we are in store for some really cool success secrets from my good friend, Paco Magsaysay. Now, Paco Magsaysay is the CEO of the well-loved Carmen's Best Ice Cream. It is known as the Philippines' first premium ice cream brand using local milk and specific ingredients and pasteurization processes in ice cream production. And recently, they've even ventured into cheese production. Now, Paco received the Agora Awards for Entrepreneurship back in 2018 and has recently won in the second Mansmith Innovation Awards 2022 as one of the top innovators of this year. This award seeks to recognize Filipino innovators and inspire future innovators as well, and for both to be celebrated not just here in the Philippines, but globally as well. Now, Paco and I were in touch amidst this pandemic. We were trying to see how our businesses could help each other survive the very tough times. So I want to find out how he was able to pivot his business and make it not just survive, but thrive and come up with even newer products during this new normal time. So if you want to learn more about Paco's success secrets, please do stay around and listen to the show. Again, thanks so much. Let's call on stage right now, Paco Magsaysay.
Hello. Hi, RJ. Thanks for having me at your show.
Paco, thanks so much for joining me here. It's always a pleasure to be with you. You know, we were together on stage when we both won the Agora Awards, and it was truly an honor to be with you at the same time. And now it's also an honor to be with you with your newly minted award. We shared out the same trophy space
Yes.
for
Sabay-sabay
both.
yata when we win the award. Sabay-sabay tayo.
Well, I'm so glad I'm in good company. We've got the Agora sitting on our table, along with of course our newest award, which is the Mansmith Innovation Awards. And you know what? I just got a message from Josiah Go telling me what specific award you won for the Mansmith Innovation Awards, and that was your Product Innovation Award. So really a great story. So
Product
Paco,
innovation. Okay. Thank
product
you for that.
innovation. Buti na lang, last minute save yan si Josiah.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Josiah. Hope you're listening here at the same time. So,
Yeah.
big news about what you guys did. Why, if you think about ice cream, right? It could be, ice cream is ice cream is ice cream. Same way that a food market is a food market is a food market. But you
Yes.
guys won a very prestigious award. In fact, the guys who chose you for that award, these are people who are luminaries in business. You've got John Henry Luwelier, you've got Martha Sazon of Gcash, you've got Ronald Mascareñas of I think Chooks to Go. You've got a lot of great people who are actually was deciding on the award. Why do you think you guys won the Product Innovation Award in the Mansmith Innovations? What was it? What was it about Carmen's Best?
I was wondering why I was part of that very prestigious group of people. I was like, "Are you sure I won?" But I guess when we won the award, it was primarily because we've been adjusting to times. We've been sort of having we pivoted when we needed to pivot, and we did the most as what we could do during the lockdown when really business was down for us anyway. So we just kept ourselves, thinking of ways to maximize our manpower, maximize our plant, because we had to, because of the drop in sales, we were not producing ice cream every day. And the fact that we were renting our facility, we were paying our people the full salary, and we were
Fixed
not
cost pa
using
yan.
it every day.
Oh,
Exactly. So we had to find ways to maximize, whatever assets we had, and it was really making other products.
Oh, wow. So tell me,
Yeah.
let's step back a bit more. I often think of it this way, that crisis leads to opportunity. We know that. I mean, that's almost a maxim
Yes.
for many of us entrepreneurs.
That's right.
So we know the crisis, we know the pain point for you. Everything was not being maximized, and you had to find a way to pivot, either produce new products or change a product or do something different. What were the
Yeah.
biggest product innovations that resulted from you as a result of this pandemic?
Well, the natural cheese that we started in September, which, come to think of it, was not that long ago. We got into natural cheese making, which is not something that's really done in the Philippines. I think the other group that makes it is based in Davao,
Mhm.
and they make also cheese. So we sort of looked at what they were doing, and we sort of did it our way, working with the milk that comes from our own dairy farm. So it was primarily cow's milk, which is the same milk we use for the ice cream. And we started making Italian tuma, cachota, and even gorgonzola. So
Wow.
those were the three cheeses that I should have sent you some. I'm sorry, I should
Oh,
have sent you some
you can
before
still
our
send tonight. We're still open.
Yeah,
The house is still open for more cheese.
yeah.
Even ice
Well,
cream,
I
we're
know
open to that as well.
I know where you live. Okay, so so I'll send you some this week. But I wish you got to try it before our interview, because it's really different. I mean, it's natural cheese is very different from processed cheese, which is what is being sold in the market locally. 99% of the time, it's processed cheese, meaning there's no dairy anymore. So when we started making natural cheese, we knew that the market for natural cheese was the same market for Carmen's Best. It was the same, premium market, and we offered it to our market base or our loyal clients. And the sales has been quite impressive, and we're happy with how it's going. Hopefully, we can make other types of cheese, in the future.
Well, fantastic. And aside from that,
Yeah.
was that the biggest innovation that you guys had amidst this pandemic? It's really the development of the cheese. Parang that kept things going, right? That kept people's jobs.
Yeah.
in effect, you
Yes.
found you
Yeah.
found a new income stream, or you found a new product
Yes.
to sell, no?
We found a new product, a new income stream using the same staff and the same facility. But it's very difficult. I mean, there's so many factors that changes the final product, from humidity to temperature to the rennet to the quality of the milk. So there's a lot of things that's going on. Unlike processed cheese, where you're not really using natural products. It's pretty much, they call it analog cheese. No? So it's a
Analog
little bit
cheese.
different. Yeah, analog cheese. Yeah. So meaning that's non-dairy, not non-dairy na yung analog cheese. No. So it was really making the most of what we had, and then tapping our customer base and offering them new product. And the expectation for the products we come up with is quite high, because when we come up with a product, it's a little bit more on the premium side. So the price is going to be a little bit higher, and the expectation is much greater than just coming up with something ordinary or something pedestrian, I guess. so,
Pedestrian.
so we
Yes.
yeah
No, but this is
yeah
interesting. What I want to know is, okay, amidst the pandemic, diba, where resources are not vast, diba? And unlike the time you could
yes
spend a lot for R&D. In fact, your cheese
yes
would never have come. I mean, I dare say that your cheese would not have become a product line of Carmen's Best if this pandemic didn't happen. Am I correct
yes,
on that
you
one?
are absolutely right. I mean, to be honest, I am not a huge cheese person. I am more of an ice cream guy. So when I got into cheese, it was a little bit parang I was a fish out of water now. So I mean, but starting to understand it, starting to understand the process, and how detail oriented you have to be. Like when it says 98% humidity, it's best to keep it at 98% humidity. Or if the temperature should be X or Y, you have to stick to that. If the aging is 5 days, you stick to the 5 days aging, or if it's 10 days aging. So it's much more difficult than making ice cream, but the outcome is it's quite amazing, because I had it as a pizza the other day, and I was surprised how good the pizza, the quattro formaggi was. No, I mean, the fourth cheese was a mozzarella, which we don't make naman, no. But the restaurant used the mozzarella that they had, and the other three cheeses were that came from us, and
Wow.
it was really different. So hopefully the Italian restaurant starts buying from us the cheeses for their quattro formaggi.
Having said that, no, um, as I look at it, tight resources, um, the knowledge you had to learn, it's almost like you had to learn it on the go. I mean, the way that I perceive it,
Yes.
diba? You had to learn things
Yeah.
on the go. Um,
Oh,
and I know we take a lot of risks, especially during this time. What
yes.
made you want to take on this particular risk to do this product? Because it's in a pandemic situation like this one, you take the risk, diba? You think, okay,
Yeah.
any entrepreneur, diba? Limited knowledge, limited resources. I'll take that shot anyway. Can you have
Yeah.
explain that process? Because we've all had to make that decision, Paco. We've all had to make that decision during
Yeah.
this pandemic. Eh. Oo.
Yeah. Well, I think in terms of manpower, they were there already, diba? We hired a person to train us, this Italian cheese master to train us. But in
Mm.
terms of manpower, we had our food techs, diba? So the food techs were there, the production people were there. We handpicked a few people to be part of the seminar with this Italian cheese master, and we kept the team small. The more detail oriented production people, the more senior ones were the ones that we had in our group. And the facility, or the production area was already there, our ice cream production, no? Since we were not making ice cream every day, because we cater to a lot of airlines and what have you. But there were no flights coming out of Metro Manila. They were really just grounded, and business was really bad for us in terms of restaurants, coffee shops being closed, hotels and resorts, and so on. And even the restaurants that were doing delivery, even if they were carrying ice cream, people were not ordering ice cream for to be delivered. So our business was quite down, and parang we didn't have a choice but to do this. And even the thought of the possibility of closing your company, it it wakes you up, because you're thinking maybe this is it,
No, I don't know if it wakes you up, but rather you can't sleep, di ba? Parang ganyan, di ba?
Yeah, parang baka ito na yung time na it's time to the story
Oo.
ends here, and
Oo.
there have been a lot of other businesses that closed down, and it's been really challenging, but we're still here, so hopefully we'll be able to survive the next few decades. So
Wow.
yeah.
I have a question because this came out amidst this pandemic. Before everything else, I just want to greet Lance Luis Caviteño here in the comment box saying, good evening to the two gentlemen Agora awardees. Thanks so much for listening in to us. I really appreciate.
Thank
Hopefully, you get a lot
you.
of stuff coming from me and Paco's
Yeah.
conversation. That sometimes that in the pandemic, was it true to say that some people thought that some ice cream sales increased for some players because they were saying it was a sort of like a comfort, or it was like a sense of
Yeah.
normalcy amidst this
Yeah.
pandemic. Did you
Parang comfort
experience
food.
anything like that?
Comfort food.
Parang
Yeah.
comfort food to get your mind off the pandemic. Did that sort of
Yeah.
happen for you guys, or you have to find
I
different
guess
ways to distribute? Parang ganyan.
when the lockdown first happened, and we didn't know what a lockdown was. We didn't know how long it was going to last. We didn't know how it was going to affect business in general. And the first 6 months, I have to say, was quite difficult because, I mean, even the production team could not go to work the first month.
Mm.
If you remember the first month of the lockdown, people were not even allowed to go to work, diba? So, we had to shut down production, and we were just selling existing stock that we had, which we don't really stock a lot of ice cream. And the first 6 months of 2019 was really bad in terms of comparing the sales from the year before. But actually, when the year end, we were actually only about 5 to 10% different from the year before. So umakyat naman yung benta at the latter part of the first year of the lockdown. So the latter part of 2019, early 2020, gumanda naman yung benta ng ice cream. We were able to launch an online selling platform. We had community resellers. So even those were new things for us. No, for the longest time, I didn't want to come up with an e-commerce platform because I didn't want the groceries to think I was competing with them, because most of our sales are coming from groceries. No, but since it was a pandemic and people were just finding ways to survive, nobody naman complained like, "Hey Paco, why are you selling online?" Nobody naman complained to me. So
So buhay pa. So congratulations.
buhay pa. You know
Survivor.
what they say about bad grass, right?
Yeah.
They don't die easy. So
Well,
yun.
okay, so let's move a bit forward with the story, Paco. Like we're talking
Yeah.
about Carmen's best ice cream, and you know, what I'm so impressed about is that the origin of both your business and my own business for Mercato almost the same time. You were born mga 2010,
Yes.
kayo mga 2007.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
kumbaga, we've seen each other's growth. But when I look at you guys, I need to help people better understand. What was the what was the pain point that led to the creation of the ice cream? Because when we look at what you guys are right now, di ba? And I look at what is Carmen's Best, you are a Filipino premium ice cream brand that exists here in the country. But there have been other ice cream brands here in the past,
Yeah.
and you were entering into what I would think is not a crowded, but rather a competitive marketplace over here in the Philippines when it came to ice cream. So tell us a bit more about the secret origin of Carmen's Best. What led you
Yeah.
to come up with this one?
Well, actually, when you say 2007, that was when our dairy farm started. So 2007, my father and his friends put up a dairy farm. And it was in 2009 that I incorporated a company called Carmen's Best Dairy Products. So if you notice, walang ice cream in the original company name. It's Carmen's Best Dairy Products that we registered in the SEC. Because in 2009, we didn't know we were going to make ice cream.
Mm.
All we knew was we were going to use some milk from the farm or dairy product from the farm to come up with a value-added product that we would sell. Kaya nga, Carmen's Best Dairy Products. No? And it was only in 2011 that we started selling ice cream, February of 2011. That's why this is our 11th year in business. Now, how did we get into ice cream from being a dairy products company to an ice cream company? Well, my dad was telling me that we were throwing away a lot of milk and cream. kasi nasisira siya. Since we have fresh milk and we are processing, pasteurizing, and homogenizing as fresh milk, the shelf life is only 7 to 10 days. Diba? So that's very different from UHT milk. UHT, which stands for ultra high temperature, does not even need refrigeration. That's why you're not even allowed to call it fresh milk. That's why it's on the shelves. So yung amin is fresh milk, so 7 to 10 days lang. And we were not able to sell it so fast. No? And you have to milk the cows every day. So my dad said, we have to find a way to come up with products that will make the milk last longer, whether it's yogurt, cheese, or what have you. So sabi ko, I'll make na lang ice cream kasi I like to eat ice cream. and I wasn't really happy with the ice cream that, the choices that there was here in the Philippines at that time, no? So I said, well, I'll make ice cream, but I'll make the flavors that I like. So I made the flavors of ice cream that I wanted to eat here in the Philippines. And the first 4 flavors that we came up with was salted caramel. We were the first one to come up with salted caramel in 2011.
Okay, kayo yan,
salted caramel. Kami, salted caramel. Yeah. So salted caramel, we came up with butter pecan. And I was eating butter pecan ice cream in Texas because I grew up in Houston, Texas. So butter pecan. And then we had malted milk, which is made with Maltesers. If you remember when you were growing up, you see those Maltesers, the tablets, diba? And the last one is butter pecan, Brazilian coffee. Mm-hmm. So those were my first 4 flavors. I didn't come up with the usual strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate flavors.
That was intentional. That was intentional on your part, kind of your first point to stand out again. That was your first idea, na stand up with the different flavors.
Well, it was more like that's the flavors that I would like to eat. so those were the 4 flavors that came.
The teacher of my son of Pale and Shuffle, really great school, Teacher Myla Lee Tolentino, saying, my fave, salted caramel. Hi, Teacher Miles. Thanks so much for listening to us.
Thank you.
Panalo talaga, di ba?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So keep on going to kwento. Yeah, so ice cream which you wanted to eat. So it had to be something that you like yourself, right?
Yes. So, when you're first making products, especially food, you're making your friends and your family try it. And at a certain point, you're wondering, are they just pulling my leg? But baka they're just being nice to me and they're just saying they like the product. No? So I really had to bring it out in the market. Meaning I had to work with somebody in the Saturday market in Salcedo. And I was doing a lot of free tasting in Salcedo market, Saturday market. And, sa awa naman ng Diyos that I was able to get enough feedback and the courage to really push through with it and launch the ice cream business. So that was February of 2011. And by 2013, I decided to quit my full-time job and do the ice cream full-time.
What were you doing before? So if you mind me asking, what were you doing before that? Was it the cable? Was it? I know your company's
the cable TV, yeah.
Cable
TV, broadband internet, yeah. So from cable TV, broadband internet, I went into food production.
Wow.
So very different. It was like a 180-degree turn, from running a family business to running your own business and still working with some of the accounting people in the company and the importing group in the company. Kasi you cannot hire naman everybody initially, di ba?
Of course.
You're not earning so much. So you're working with some people from the business and then telling them, baka you can help me with this. I'll give you a little bit of allowance to help run this and that. So it was really bare bones initially.
Sure. I know the feeling because I work for my family business and eventually we run this business right now, which is Mercato. So kumbaga, I can feel where you were coming from.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, what was the point in that discussion that you said that, because when you leave behind that, it's a family business, so obviously it's not going to be easy because it's not just a professional thing. It's a family business.
Yeah.
And you moved, and what brought you over here? How was that? How did that process go? Was it difficult? Was it or was it a bit of getting your tooth pulled, or was it what's the decision point that made you want to go here into a more riskier venture?
Yeah. Well, when you're working with your family, as you just mentioned, The business was started by, your parents or your grandparents, and you have to respect that it's really their business. It's not yours. And if you bump heads with them because they have a different way of doing things than you, for me, I gave in to my dad because at the end of the day, it's his business. The cable
Mhm.
TV is his business. He started it, blood, sweat, and tears, and then I'm running it now. But at the end of the day, it's still his business, right?
That's right.
So I didn't want to bump heads with him. It's a family business. So in a way, I went into the ice cream business to prove to him that my way works. So, well, and when you're motivated not because of money, you're motivated to prove something. I tell you, you will work harder than you've ever worked in your life because you want to prove that your way works, right?
Mhm.
So after 11 years of doing ice cream, I think I've proven to my family that my way works.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
Yeah,
I,
so
I,
that's
I,
that,
I
that's it.
commiserate and I empathize and I understand exactly what you're talking about, Paco.
Yes,
I just,
yes, yeah,
uh, so
yeah.
wow.
So it's
So
it's sad lang that you hear family members fighting with other family, and you have to give it to your folks or to your grandparents because it's really their business, di ba? If they want to run it a certain way, you have to follow them because sila ang nag-start ng business na yan eh, hindi naman ikaw eh, di ba? Now, if you want to run a business your way, then put up your own business and run it the way you want, which is what I did, right? I wanted
yeah.
to run my business my way and I put up the ice cream business and I ran it the way I wanted to run it. So, buti na lang it worked.
But at the same time, they don't. When you come from, I don't know if you came from an entrepreneurial family altogether. But then, even if
Yeah.
you do, it's not like saying it's not like you're saying bye bye. But it's rather that second, but even help you
Yeah.
put up your other business.
Yes.
They're not going to
Yeah.
abandon you
Yeah.
totally. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how
Actually,
I
I
that's how I that's
yeah.
how I felt. Oh.
Actually, I come from a political family. so so I did something very different from what other grandchildren of presidents do. So
Oh,
normally they're in politics, but it wasn't my cup of tea. So
I see, I
yeah.
see. Oh, and this is just an interesting thing, and I hope for the people listening here, I have a very interesting story with Paco over here. And one time when I saw him in Carmen's Best in Rockwell, um, in the same flight of his grandfather, the late President Magsaysay, my wife's late grandfather was Senator Tomas Kabili, who was on the same flight of Mount
Yeah.
Pinatubo when they
Yeah.
flew over there. So very interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that's how far back it
Yeah.
went. And Paco's dad was
Yeah.
actually the classmate of my dad, my father's brother as well. So
Yeah.
very interesting
Yeah.
story about the political history of the
Yes.
Magsaysays and contribution to the Philippines.
We're intertwined.
Very intertwined. And of course, my
Yeah.
business partner and mentor to us all is Jomang, Jose Magsaysay of
Jojo. Yeah.
Potato Corner.
That's
So
right.
we,
Yeah.
we turn to him and we get a lot of great advice also coming from Jomang. So
Yeah.
anyway, just as an aside. Now
Yeah.
going back, Paco, you jumped ship and not jumped ship, but you kind of just transitioned over here. Tell us a bit more. Medyo stressful time na, di ba? When you transfer, it's exciting but also very risky.
Yeah.
It's like
Yes.
your
Yes.
parachute disappeared, or it might have felt like that.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
your parachute disappeared. What was the
Well,
first thing that you did when you put up when you went on your own for Carmen's Best?
well, I have to say I was very fortunate that my dad did not stop my salary in the other company. So he continued my salary with the cable business, and I'm very grateful that he kept that going because it gave me a safety net. So and also in looking at making our products, I wasn't so how do you say hard pressed to come up with a profit for our Carmen's Best side because I was getting my salary from the old the business, the family business. So because I wasn't so pressed to make a profit and or make so much money, I was able to really push the quality of our product. So when we were choosing ingredients, we got the best ingredients we could find. And normally the best ingredients are normally more expensive, diba? So we use the best ingredients. We use fresh milk. We don't dilute it. And up to now, nobody talks about using fresh milk for their ice cream. We're still doing it. We've been doing from day one up to now. We're doing it. We use high fat. We don't put a lot of air in our product. That's why even when it melts, it doesn't go down. The
Mm,
ice cream doesn't go down. And then if it melts a little bit, you won't see any separation in the liquid because we don't put any water in the ice cream. No? So how we make the product is actually quite expensive. So people wonder, bakit ang mahal ng ice cream mo? I said, because it's expensive to make. It's not like it's cheap and then we make it expensive, you know. It's really expensive to make, and we cater to a certain market, and you cannot really disappoint the market you're serving, because we cater to the AB market, which is a much smaller market than the CDNE market. So the moment that they find out we're cutting corners or we're using different ingredients that are substandard, then it's going to affect our sales, definitely. No, so we do our best to keep our clients happy. We do our best.
So you came out originally with four flavors. How did you start to
Yes.
iterate from there? That's my interest. How did you, when you came up with those four, were they all successful at the start, or from there, how did you start creating those new flavors? Because I know that when you think about Carmen's Best Ice Cream, and it's almost like I know my good friend Romel, one of Binalot. There's when you listen to the name of the product, there's a specific story behind it. It seems that when you hear the stories, aside from butter pecan and your salted caramel, others will start becoming like he's not into you, or specific names. Tell us a bit more how that evolved.
Yeah, well, so you come up with a four, and it's selling well, and people are asking, do you make other flavors? And that's when I started coming up with other flavors like dark chocolate. We came up with a hokey pokey, which is a flavor from New Zealand. We came up with a brown butter almond brittle. I think what you're talking about is he's not worth it. That was
He's
a
not worth
flavor
it.
that,
Sorry, he's not worth it. Oh.
yeah. I came up with that flavor because I was doing a very informal survey in a particular coffee shop in Makati, and there were two people who mentioned that, my girlfriends always eat your ice cream when they feel bad. So so I figured, okay, well, I remember seeing there's this book called He's Not That Into You. If you remember that book, there's this book. I didn't read it, no, I didn't read it, but there was a book called
Disclaimer.
He's
Oh,
Not
yeah.
That Into You. Yeah, and I said, okay, well, maybe I can call the flavor He's Not Worth It, and it's been a hit. Actually, He's Not Worth It is a flavor that's based from the Mississippi mud pie. So I was really gonna come out with a Mississippi mud pie ice cream, but instead I called it He's Not Worth It, and it turned out to be one of the best things we did because people remember us for that flavor.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then how do you choose eventually how many SKUs or flavors that you have out in the market? Is it really based on a lot of market research, or really you just tasting a lot of different products and seeing what's popular?
Yeah.
And how do you, how
Yeah.
do you what flavors out there?
I guess I've been fortunate that the flavors I pick have been selling well naman, no? Kasi even the taste of the flavor, you'll come up with two or three variations of a particular flavor. But I do the final approval as to which variant we will choose, no? So all the ice cream that you try in Carmen's Best, I taste test them all. so so it's both good and bad because sometimes you have ice cream coming out of your ears already because you eat so much ice cream. But we don't really do so much how do you say focus groups or any surveys. It's more
Mhm.
what we feel the market will like, no? And we also check what is available in terms of ingredients because not all ingredients are available locally, no? And then we can't naman afford to bring in a small volume in because we don't have such a massive sales volume, so we won't hit the minimum order to get a certain special rate, no. So those are the things that we have to deal with. But every once in a while, we'll come up with two or three flavors, and then we'll just drop the bottom two or three from our
Okay.
lineup, diba?
Got it.
So
Got it.
yeah, so we just try to get rid of the slower selling flavors, and then we come in with two or three new flavors.
Oh, I
Yeah.
I want to get to pick up this comment coming in right now from Cathy Santa Maria. Only the best from Carmen's Best. Ayan. Nako, if you were just giving away ice cream right now, maraming panalo na dito ah. So sa comment box natin. My wife's commenting right now. Only the best also as well. Only the best. My wife's saying from her position over there. Um, Paco, I'm also curious. Like when you get ice creams, do you also check on the kumbaga Are there specific margins you're looking at? Oh, he's just fixing up his audio here right now. Again, thanks so much. Paco Magsaysay joining us here right now. People coming in from the comments box. If you've got a comment coming in and you want to say something to Paco, please feel free to do so. Baka manalo pa kayo ng Carmen's Best Ice Cream. So,
Wait, I
yeah,
think I lost you. I can't hear you.
oh, you don't worry. We're all still here, and we're going to be in standby. So, in effect, no. The other questions I wanted to ask Paco here right now is really, as an entrepreneur, how he chooses specific flavors. Aside from that one, oh, there's no audio right now. Can you help me out with the audio here right now, Clark? I think the audio's not coming out, or you might have to transfer device. So, in the meantime, there we go. Let's put Paco first here in the background, and we're gonna come back right away. But in the meantime, what I want to share with you guys is that let's take a look at what Paco's been doing differently. So, Paco, back in 2018, we both won the Agora Award for Entrepreneurship. And the award that we both won was Excellence in Entrepreneurship. We won ours for small scale for Mercato Central. Meanwhile, Paco won his for they call it mid scale for a larger production. And I want to just go back to what made Paco win in the first place. No, so Paco Magsaysay launched Carmen's Best Ice Cream, which is the first premium Filipino ice cream brand here in the Philippines. And as you can see, it uses local milk and specialized ingredients and pasteurization process in ice cream production, which turned a problem of his business, a pain point of the business, which was preserving the milk into a solution because the problem was the proper storage of fresh milk. And what he just did is he created a new market space by creating the ice cream. So, Paco, I want to just go back a bit more into, how do you also, because of the premium ingredients, which ones do you keep? Because sometimes the production of some can be very expensive. The production of others can be not as expensive because of the ingredients which you use.
Yeah.
So how do you know which is the ideal? Because when you produce, you just throw everything. I mean, you seem to be some guy who's both creative and then technical after it. That's how I see it.
Well, we can't have a fixed profit margin, and we do it by a certain percentage, right? So our pints in Carmen's Best, we have two levels. We have a higher priced one, and we have a lower priced one. So even though it's the same pint, it's just the ingredients for the higher priced one. It's really more expensive. Whether it's pistachio, it's dark chocolate, and when you try it, naman, you can tell how different it is. That's why it's sold a little bit more expensive than the lower cost one. The lower cost is really, of course, as much as possible, you want to sell it at a lower price so more people can buy it. But we can't also sell naman something that's too close to our cost. No? So we have two different prices for our ice cream.
Wow. Oh, I have it right now. Chicky Escarialgo of Mansmith saying, congratulations, Paco, on the Mansmith Innovation Award. Agree that Carmen's Best is really the best. Hashtag proudly Philippine made. Of course, thanks so much, Chicky, over here from the Mansmith team. We're saying hi. Hi, Chicky. May picture pa si Paco.
Hi, Chicky. Hi.
Yeah, hi, Chicky. Thanks for joining us. And again, Lance Luis Caviteño saying over here, I like this comment. One time, Carmen's Best ice cream was my peace offering to my wife nung umuwi ako late. He. So, this can be your inspiration next time, Paco, na peace offering naman yung kanyang ice cream. You can maybe that's a new inspiration to create a new flavor.
That's a nice name.
For your ice
peace
cream.
offering.
I like that. Peace offering. Pista tayo. And if it does well, you know where the commission can go to. Me and Lance can split that over there. But now, Paco, moving on a bit. I want to find out right now, in this stage of the entrepreneurial journey, there are a lot, of course, ups and downs for many of us. And there are high points and low points. And, people see the success like, oh, he won the Mansmith Innovation Award. Oh, he won the Agora Awards. But, Paco, there are times where we're really down. Parang, oh, I failed. It's not going to work. What were those times? I hope the mind check. What were those times for you? Parang, oh my gosh, parang hindi ko na kaya, or, I don't think this is going to work. Did it happen to you when you're doing Carmen's Best?
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's a time when you're thinking, why am I doing this? Why am I killing myself? Why am I hardly sleeping? Why am I working 7 days a week, right? And you're wondering, my kids are, I can pay naman the tuition. I'm eating well. I can pay the bills. But why am I killing myself doing this? And I guess more than anything, I felt that I had something to prove, And at the end of the day, when you decide really that you want to accomplish something, and you realize how difficult it's going to be,
you just have to sort of focus and lock in, and really just do what you need to get it done. I mean, I was skipping a lot of Sunday meals with my family, and I was skipping a lot of vacation time and what have you, especially the first few years when Carmen's Best started, because nobody knew what was Carmen's Best. You visit restaurants and they're like, what is that? And people knew naman that I didn't have any background in culinary or pastry or even a restaurant. So they're like wondering what's going on, who's this guy, and what is this Carmen's Best. So it's very the first few years is really quite challenging because you don't even have the enough income to hire people to help you. I mean, you have to really do a lot of the roles in the company, whether it's delivering, account maintenance, product development,
Ikaw na rin
production.
yan lahat. Kahit
Ikaw
delivery
na
boy,
lahat.
ikaw na rin yan, no? Di ba?
Ako na rin nagde-deliver. Tapos, every time I open an account, my way of rewarding myself was riding an Uber Black at that time. So I said, when I close an account, I'll ride Uber Black. So I would ride Uber Black and I would be happy riding Uber Black. And that was my way of rewarding myself for closing an account. So there are all these little wins that keep you going. But the first few years is a lot of failure, a lot of trial and error, and yeah, it's quite challenging.
And on the flip side naman, when was that point that you told yourself, oh my God, Carmen's Best made it, or it's getting there? I mean, where's that point where, like, you go, like for me, I often tell on this podcast, it's when, when I one time I stood in the market, like, and there were just hundreds of people coming in or thousands of people coming in, walking by, and, they made mercato a verb, like, "Uy, mercato tayo." So, wow, for me, that's wow,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. It came from our creative juices, and it's actually here. What was that? What was that point for you in Carmen's Best?
I think when the Pope ate our ice cream. So when the Pope visited in 2015, he was here January of 2015, and a few months prior to that, Lucio Tan bought back Philippine Airlines from Ramon Ang. If you remember, Ramon Ang for a while was running Philippine Airlines. But around third or fourth quarter of 2014, Lucio Tan bought back Philippine Airlines from Ramon Ang. So they took out all the Magnolia ice cream inside. So, I had no control over that. I had nothing to do with that. And, in business, sometimes things happen and, you're just fortunate, good timing or what have you. And they put us in, they were talking to us even December of 2014. So 1 month before the Pope came in, which was January of 2015. So we were just going to be placed in business class of Philippine Airlines, not in economy. So business class of Philippine Airlines. So when the Pope was about to leave, they called us, but they didn't tell us it was for the Pope. They said, "Oh, there's a chartered flight. We need 200 single serve cups of ice cream." And at that time, we didn't have cups yet. We just had the pint. If you
Oh
remember,
no.
when we first started selling ice cream,
Yeah,
we,
yeah,
we just
I
had
remember.
pints.
Oh.
Wala
Oh.
kaming single serve cup. So sabi ko, naku, paano to? And I said, okay, pal, I'll give you 200 pints for the price of 200 cups. And sabi nila, Sir Paco, we cannot serve naman a pint of ice cream to each one. Thank you. It's very generous offer, but we can serve pints of ice cream to our passengers, right? So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? So I had to fly in because our packaging came from Taiwan. Because premium packaging is very hard to get in the Philippines. I mean, normally it's mass market packaging that you get here. So we had to air freight 500 single serve cups just for that flight. I had a feeling it was for the Pope. They didn't tell me it was for the Pope. And luckily, when he had the ice cream, he had two flavors, and they put it in the Enquirer and all the media outlets, and that just put us through the roof. People were looking for ice cream, and they wanted to find out what's this Carmen's Best and all that. So parang hulog sa langit talaga what happened there.
Galing sa Santo Papas, talagang hulog ng langit yan.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
So
And then, aside from that one, so you come up with different flavors, and I know that you've also am I right to say that you've developed a more mass market ice cream flavor right now? Is that right?
Yes,
Am I right to say that one?
yes. A lot
Tell
of
us
the
more about that.
restaurants I approach find our ice cream too expensive because they need a certain profit margin to make it work. No? And so I've presented to so many restaurant groups, so many hotels and what have you, only to be turned down. So eventually I came up with this other ice cream line called Arctic Ice Cream, which is made similar to the mass-produced ice cream of Selecta, Magnolia, and Nestle. But of course, we made it for us. We made it taste better. You know? So we say that it has the DNA of Carmen's Best, but price-wise, it's quite competitive. No? So it's a very different market that we're entering, but at the same time, we're we're working with the goodwill of our name of Carmen's Best, and hopefully more people get to try it. We're trying to be in more groceries, and also they can buy it online in our online store.
Having said that, Paco, what's the product innovation in the in Arctic that allows you to bring the price down? Because I know that you it's still fresh milk, which is the DNA of Carmen's
Yeah,
Best. How are you able to bring how
yeah.
are you able to bring a more mass market quality to your ice creams?
Well, number one, we don't use fresh milk. We use the same type of powdered milk as mass-produced ice cream, and then we use flavoring, powdered flavoring, similar to what the other mass-produced ice cream uses. So we make it that way. We also pump a little bit more air in it, so it's less expensive. So, but in terms of taste, we made it taste a little bit, as we feel a little bit better, just to have some sort of differentiation from the others. So
Got
we have the strawberry chocolate vanilla, we have ube and melon, so it's really for food service for people to use in the restaurants.
got
Yeah.
that. As you create these new flavors, diba, I'm sure you've developed in your own way. What is your sort of like your philosophy towards product innovation? Because when you come up with new flavors or come up with new innovations, I'm sure something guides you in that process. What can you share with entrepreneurs who are also sort of doing that? What is it? Played by ear, or over the years did you develop some sort of formula or trial and error?
Well, it's very different if you're talking about Carbon's Best or Arctic Ice, the lower priced ice cream. No? So you sort of need to use different hats when you're thinking for Carbon's Best or you're thinking for Arctic. No? Because sometimes it gets mixed up, eh? Or you're talking to your staff and they're thinking you're talking about this, but you're talking about that. And so you have to be clear about it. But it's really more, for us, it's more feel, especially for Carmen's Best. I did a lot of traveling when I was a little bit younger. So there were a lot of flavors that I've come across, whether it's hokey pokey in New Zealand, or it's soccer tort in Austria, or so it's these are different flavors that we're looking at doing, or kakigori in Japan. So these are flavors we're still looking to come up with.
Mhm, mhm. Now, moving up forward, what do you see are, I guess, opportunities that are still emerging in this food and beverage or the ice cream industry? It can be in the food industry, or I guess even the food beverage e-commerce industry. There's so many things coming up right now, but if you're looking at them right now, what are the opportunities out there, not just for you, but maybe emerging entrepreneurs that you're seeing who want to play in the field and can still make a difference?
Well, I think a lot of people are more health conscious now. So people are looking at keto, they're looking at vegan, they're looking at more natural products. I think it's more headed that direction because the awareness level is higher, the access to information is better now. So the people who have money to spend, they're more leaning towards natural products,
Mhm.
healthy products, vegan or keto products.
Okay. Then in the industry per se, what do you see anything emerging in terms of food and beverage per se? Any trends that you think that people can still capitalize on, or business opportunities out there?
Well, I'll just speak on what we're doing, we're doing more of a dairy play because we have access to fresh milk. So we're more of the fresh milk, yogurt, the natural cheese, the ice cream. So, for entrepreneurs who are looking to get into the food business, I think it's important to see where you have an advantage. It's like for us, we have a dairy farm. So definitely my advantage is doing something dairy based, di ba? So that's what I'm doing. So check what advantage you have or what you can use, whether it's some knowledge or some sort of product that you can rely on as a steady source, and then do that product. I mean, that's how we came into ice cream because we had a steady source of milk, fresh milk.
Got that.
Yeah.
And with that, no, I see that Carmen's Best is you developed your premium brand, you developed your mass market brand, you're into cheese. So in the next 2 to 5 years, where do you see you taking Carmen's Best?
Well, we're gonna be more of parang a full service dairy company. We're not primarily an ice cream company. We're not primarily a cheese company, but we're more of a full service dairy. So we'll be coming up with, not only natural cheese, but we'll come up with a higher low cost cheese similar to what Arctic ice cream is. It's a higher quality mass produced product. So that's going to be our way of differentiating ourselves from the market. Is we might have a mass produced product, but it tastes better than what's out there. We might have a mass produced cheese, but it's going to taste better than what's out there. So we're always going to try to be different in terms of taste, higher quality. Quality is the bottom line.
Quality is the bottom line.
Yeah.
And Paco, you like I said, no, you came from two different industries. You came from a varying industry. You came from cable
Yes.
industry. You moved into the food industry, or at least the
Yes.
food beverage industry. And I know this is your love now. It was something that you kind of stumbled into, if you think about it. No, it wasn't something that was a decision that you made when you were
Yes.
younger. But there's always new opportunities emerging, and you're as an entrepreneur, your mind's always open to so many different things. For example, you weren't doing ice cream right now or dairy. What do you think you'd be doing here right now that you're seeing right now with a lot of opportunity?
Well, definitely, I'd still be working with a family business. And I think 99.9% of the people who get into family businesses end up running it, till they retire or they get older. And I think for me, I wanted to try something new. I was getting a little bit bored with what I was doing. I had been doing it for close to 20 years. I did a career change at the age of 43. So at the age of 43, I did a 180-degree career change. And I guess I'm kind of that way in terms of being a risk taker. And as a businessman, you try to lessen your risk, di ba? And I felt like I had enough to go with what I had, and added to the fact that my salary was still being paid for by the other company. It helped me a lot, right? So I kind of had a safety net. So I was quite fortunate to have that because not many entrepreneurs will have that safety net with them. So, I use that to my advantage. So whatever advantage you have, it doesn't make you less of an entrepreneur or less of a businessman because everybody else is using their, whatever advantage they can use. So don't think it makes you less of a businessman or less of an entrepreneur. Just get as much as you can, advantages as you can get, and then go with that.
I just want to bring up the comment of Rika Harada saying, reiterating what you said from you, what you picked up from you, quality is the bottom line. I think that's of course, and that's really what you're getting over here when you work together with Carmen's Best. Before we move on to the last question, which I want to ask you, is you know what you actually said before that you were distributed through groceries. Now you're doing online, but you actually opened up in Rockwell your own store for Carmen's Best. Is this a one-time thing? What made you want to add an actual physical store, and will you continue opening more physical stores for Carmen's Best?
The store became a showroom for us.
Okay.
I mean, even in Rockwell, when we first opened, we came across a lot of people who have not tried our product. And it was a good way to to share our product and to have people try our product in Rockwell. And retail is very different from wholesale because we were used to, or I was used to doing wholesale business. And then here comes the retail, and it was quite challenging for me. And I would work there, like weekends and evenings, and the few times that you're not there, people are asking, "Oh, where's Paco?" They don't realize you were working for 10 days straight or what. But it's nice because you get to interact directly with your customers. They give you feedback, and they see how hands-on you are. You're wiping the tables, you're talking to people and all that. So it's nice for them to see also how we do things and how committed we are to the business, and especially to the quality of the product.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And finally, Paco, I wanted to ask, you've gained so much insight from your entrepreneurial experience, from your business experience, and in general with interacting with other entrepreneurs. If you don't mind, maybe you could share with us your top three biggest lessons that you've gained that you would want to share to the next batch of entrepreneurs or business people.
Okay. Well, first of all, I guess the most important thing that comes to mind is don't be afraid of the unknown. I think many people, I mean, and it's human nature to be afraid of the unknown. Like being, you're comfortable in your family business, you're getting paid, you have a roof over your head, your meals are set, and then here you are going into something that's totally different. You're going from a certain industry that you've been part of for close to 20 years, and then you're gonna do something that's totally different, like food manufacturing. So had I been afraid of the unknown, I wouldn't have taken the jump or taken the step to go into making ice cream. And wala tayong Carmen's Best. Di ba? Can you imagine how sorry and sad our lives would be without Carmen's Best? Di ba? So that's number one. Number two, don't have a plan B. When the first few years of your business and it's really, really, really difficult, and you're barely sleeping, and you're so tired, you feel like you're getting sick already. If you have a plan B, you're gonna quit your plan A. Trust me. Now, if you have only a plan A and you don't have a plan B, you will make sure that your plan A will work. And that's what happened with me. I said, you know what? I put up Carmen's Best. Carmen is the name of my only daughter. I said, there's no way I'm going to fail. I'm going to make this thing work. Right? So whatever it took to make it work, I did it. And, sa awa ng Diyos, it worked. So don't have a plan B because that's not a good thing as an entrepreneur. And I guess for the third thing, it would be don't do what's expected. Do what's necessary. So when companies start, they always think of the CDNE market because it's the biggest market, right? I didn't want to be in that market because there were billion peso companies already catering to that market. That was Selecta, Nestle, Magnolia, billion peso companies publicly listed in the arena of the CDNE market. But the A and B market was not being catered to, right? So that's where I came in. I catered to the A and B market. And I was there alone. Because 1 year after operating in Carmen's Best in 2011, in 2012, General Mills, which owned Häagen-Dazs at the time, remember before there were Häagen-Dazs shops in Shangri-La Mall?
Yeah. I remember those. Oh.
They pulled out. They pulled out 1 year after I opened. And I didn't know that. I didn't know they're going to pull out. No, I had no idea they were going to pull out. But they pulled out 1 year after we started our business. And we were the only player in the A and B market. So we got, not only did we get their market, but we were able to sell to other establishments like country clubs, like airlines and so on. Because the Häagen-Dazs and the Ben and Jerry's that you see in the groceries now are brought in by the companies that sell them here. They don't have an office here. Häagen-Dazs does not have an office here. Ben and Jerry's does not have an office here. So when you buy Häagen-Dazs or Ben and Jerry's, it's always through the grocery. Whereas kami, we're able to talk to different country clubs, private clubs. We're able to talk to golf clubs, airlines and so on, and pushing our ice cream, our premium ice cream.
Sorry, big pahabol akong question lang. Paco, when it comes to all these things, for example, you are the premium ice cream right now, but you're seeing a lot of other smaller AB brands come up, and I've been
Yes.
seeing a lot of them as well.
Yeah.
How do you perceive these other brands that you also see emerging? Like, say, hey, welcome to the club. I mean, it's a big
Yeah.
market,
Yeah.
or do you say,
Yeah.
or do you look at them with slight, okay, I'm gonna compete with you guys, or I'm gonna make sure that you guys don't. I mean,
You know,
it's just competitive. But you say, I'm gonna find a way to one up you, so I still control the market.
yeah, it's always hard to be, the top in the top because everybody's trying to pull you down, right? And I feel that we've been in the top spot, and we just maintain our quality. We maintain how we make our ice cream. We have the same mindset from the day that we started. So nobody talks about using fresh milk. Nobody talks about premium ingredients. They just talk about their product. But for me, it's good to try other products, but don't forget to try Carmen's Best because, we don't cut corners when we make our ice cream. So,
Not
yeah.
that, not that. Anyway, thanks so much, Paco, for guesting here on the show. I hope that everybody listening here right now picked up a lot of gems of wisdom. I got so much. I'm going to go back again to the chat box from Karina Sala saying, so inspiring. We love your ice cream and we love your ice cream cakes. And Rika Harada picking up some really great insights from you. Just reiterating them again. Don't be afraid. Don't have a plan B. Just focus. Don't do what's expected. Do what's necessary. Flexibility. You're getting a masterclass in entrepreneurship right now, Rika Harada. And again, Louis Campos saying over here, world-class cheese and ice cream. Thanks so much for joining us here. And I'm looking forward to receiving some cheese and ice cream from you. So is my wife as well.
Before the
Thanks so much,
weekends. Before the
Before the,
weekends. I'll send
before
you.
the weekends. And from, again, Teacher Miles, Maida Tolentino, quality is equivalent to Carmen's Best. And again, I just want to shout out again to Teacher Miles. We're enjoying your school so much, Paling Trouble School. So for the guys who are looking for a great school for the kids, a great school over there. Again, thanks so much, guys, for joining us over here. We will see you again this coming Thursday for the next RJ Ledesma podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks again, Paco, for joining us. We'll see you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Paco, hang around a bit, huh? Just say bye.
Sure.
Thanks.